Alright, welcome back to the layout. This is going to be the follow-up video to my stone walls that I'm installing on my New Haven Railroad layout. And what I want to show you is the actual process of trimming the ends and installing these walls. So we're going to start off with trimming the ends of the walls. These walls do fit together like a puzzle, so the extra flashing that you see here has to come out. So what I trim it with is a brand new number 11 blade, and let's get started. So what you have to remember is when you're trimming these walls, be very careful if you're using a very sharp blade, and you just want to gently cut through the material as such. You're going to continue that process all the way down. So I'll continue trimming this piece, and when we come back you'll see it all completed. Alright, as you can see, the end of the wall has all been trimmed. On both sides actually. There's the other side. And now it's ready to be installed. So the first thing we have to do next is actually peel back the paper backing. And you can see the sticky backing that it has. But what I found, it needs a little bit extra adhesion when you're placing it on the styrene. So what I'm going to do is put a thin coat of Aleene's Tacky Glue, and I found that this works very well, and it gives you the extra adhesion that's needed for this project. So when we come back, you'll see all the paper removed and the thin coat of Tacky Glue applied, and then we'll actually install the wall. Alright, so this is the section of the layout that's going to be receiving the piece of wall that I've been working on. And what I did is all the paper has been removed, and I applied a little bit of glue here. But my concern is the ends. I found that the ends curl up, so I put a little bit of extra glue there to hold them down. So when you install the wall, you just want to make sure that the wall fits perfectly against the other wall, and you'll be able to see how it locks in. You just got to push it on. Now I won't trim this till tomorrow. I give the glue about 24 hours to dry, and this wall will not move. So as you can see, the pieces do interlock pretty well together. And if you really want to hide that, like I mentioned in the other video, all you have to do is put some vegetation growing up. It'll look really good. So I'm going to let this dry overnight, and tomorrow I'm going to show you how to trim the wall when it's in this stage. Alright. So I'll see you at the next video. Alright, welcome back to the layout. It's been 24 hours since I installed these 3 walls, and now it's time to trim the top edges off. So this is a real simple process, and what I'm going to use is a snap blade, and I need a piece of wax paper. So it's very simple. You just have to be very careful because these blades are extremely sharp. And you just want to rest the blade right on the surface of the roadbed where your wall is, if you can do this, and just glide the blade as such, and it will actually trim your wall nice and level. So that's the first one. And then what I do is I take the piece and I just put on the wax paper just to protect the sticky side. And if you look, it's trimmed up pretty good. So I'm going to continue with the next two walls, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to put the top stone caps on. Alright, the stone walls have been trimmed and they're ready for the stone caps. But before I do that, what I like to do is actually do a little weathering before I glue them on. And if you noticed, after you cut the pieces, the raw material from the stone wall is shown. So what I like to do is weather it up a little bit before I glue the stone caps on. And what I use is the Elmer's Painter's Pen. I use a brown color, and it's real easy to use. And you're basically just coloring in the top. And this is just to hide the raw material from the rock wall. So after this dries, then I'll glue on the stone caps. Alright, so the paint is dry, and now the wall is ready for the stone cap. Very simple process, and what I'm going to be using is the Aleene's Tacky Glue again, and I'm just going to put just a very small amount right on the surface where I'm going to be putting the stone cap. You don't need a lot, just enough to hold it in place. You got to keep in mind that the piece that you're putting on does have a sticky background, and that will help in adhesion as well. Alright, that should be good. Now the piece that I'm showing you here is an actual piece from the wall that I cut off. So I'm using every available piece that I have. Try not to waste too much. And again, you just put it in place. Alright, so once this sets up, then we'll come back and I'm going to show you how to do the actual a little bit more weathering on the side. And then we'll blend in this piece with the actual wall. Alright, now that the glue has dried for the stone caps, I'm going to start the weathering process. And I actually pre-weathered a section just to show you. You don't have to weather everything, but if you want to do some random weathering on the top, that's fine. It blends it all in. And then once you add your vegetation, everything will blend in even better. So just to start really quick in how I do it. I'm using the painter's pen again, and I'm just going to touch just the edge, and then I rub it in with my thumb. That's simple. Now you can either leave it like this or add some more, which we will do. You don't have to put a lot of paint, just enough to hide some of the bare areas when you on the side of the walls when you cut the piece. And just a little over here. Alright. Now what I use, is weathering powders. And I actually use a set from Bragnon. And I'm going to use two browns. I'm going to use a Dust Bowl brown, which is this color here, and also a weathered brown, which is that one there. So I'm going to use my brush. You don't need a lot of powders, just enough just to highlight it. I like to go from dark to light. You just put a little powder on here. Again, you don't need a lot. Just enough to blend in the painted areas that you just put on here. Okay, I'll just finish it off with the a lighter brown. Any excess, you just want to blow it off. And there you have it. This area is a little darker, but that's okay. You want that variation because not everything weathers evenly. And then I'll eventually finish this piece. But the next thing we're going to look at is actual bridge abutments and how to use these flexible walls when you're building your bridge abutments. It's a little different, and then I'm going to show you a couple techniques that I learned just by working with this. So the next segment we'll do bridge abutments. Alright, welcome back to the layout. This is going to be the last video in this layout update, and I wanted to discuss making bridge abutments using the flexible walls. One thing what you have to remember when you're making your bridge abutments is you're not going to have the opportunity to interlock your walls like here, like we did on the side. With this section here, once you cut your piece, you're going to have to butt it up against this section here. So you really have to get creative with blending in the two sections of walls. One other thing up here, this section right here, you're going to have to either cut your piece to make it fit up here, or what I found works very well is actually cutting individual bricks. You notice here, I cut a couple individual bricks, and that seems to work a little bit better. So if you look at this section here that I already did, up here I cut an individual brick and I just placed it right in there. I started putting some of the paint in here, but we're going to finish this section here, and then I'm going to blend it in with the powders. So again, using your paint pen, and just blend it in. using your finger if you want. And then a little bit up here. All right. So now we're going to use our powders. We'll start with the dark brown. And this section is going to be a little different because you're going to have a bridge sitting up here. So we'll put some water streaks, and we can put a little rust streak coming down too as well. But working with powders is pretty easy. You don't need a lot. And it really helps you blend in an area that you're trying to weather. I'll just use some of this that fell down. I got plenty of powder sitting here. And what I'm also going to do is put some vegetation growing up in there. I'll switch over to the light. Alright, so now we're going to put a little rust streak. Actually, let's do a water streak first. So I'm going to use just a little bit of black. Just to show some water staining. Put a touch of rust in there. Nothing crazy. Alright, so now all I have to do is put my ground foam in there and any other vegetation I want growing up the wall, along the side of walls. And it really blends in nice. Alright, so the next video you'll see, I will be working on the ground cover to finish this scene up. So thanks for watching. And I'll see you at the next update.